Is a pension enough anymore? That's the question. By itself, probably not. Every state is different, and I'm a retired teacher. I taught middle school for 25 years. Every state is different in how it works, but in the state of Michigan, you are going to have a gap from what your salary was to the formula that calculates your pension. I mean, it's just a fact. There's no way that you're making the same amount of money that you were making while you were working. But again, every state has a different formula. So the question is, whenever you decide to retire, at whatever age, can you get by on just a pension? I would say probably not, unless you inherited some money or something like that. Now, there are a handful of states that don't pay into Social Security. So some teachers don't have that Social Security option to fall back on at 62 or 67 or 70 plus, but many do. Now, of course, you should have investment accounts, your retirement accounts. But some people just kind of bank on, oh, well, I'll have my pension, and they haven't even calculated it yet. And they say, well, I should be good. My mom was a teacher. She had a pension. My parents seem to be fine. Well, you got to talk about these things. You got to calculate these things. I do know of someone who didn't invest a penny into anything else, just has a pension, and I suspect they aren't doing great because it is a pretty significant hit, your pension compared to what your salary was, at least in Michigan with our formula. So these are the things you got to think about. These are the things you got to talk about. And my hope is that as I'm throwing these topics at you, these conversational things, you go, yeah, I gotta take a look at that. Or I gotta run. I always talk about run your numbers. You got to run your numbers. And not just that, you got to know when the numbers come into play, right? Let's say that you retire at 54, okay? You don't have Social Security until 62 at the earliest. So when you retire, you go, oh, now I don't have access to that money. In some cases, if you retire too early, you don't have access to your retirement accounts, right? So you got to have all this stuff planned out before you decide to call it quits. And that's what this channel and these videos I'm hoping to help you with as you talk through this stuff and say, okay, I got my plan. Here's the blueprint. I got everything laid out. I always talk about you want to know the ending of the movie, and so you just watch it play out, and so there's no surprises. In terms of retirement, surprises aren't good. You go, oh my gosh, I thought I had access to that money. No, you retired at 53, so you don't have access to that until 59 and a half. What am I supposed to do for the next 6 years? Well, you should have thought about that before you decided to retire at 53 after 30 years. So again, these are the things you have to think about. A pension by itself is probably not enough, but here's the beautiful thing about a pension, and I know that it's kind of a dinosaur type thing. Not a lot of jobs have pensions left. Think about your typical white collar 401k job. You got to have all this money invested so it grows to this giant snowball, so it's there at the start of retirement. And let's say you have $1 million, okay, just hypothetically. You save up to get $1 million. Now that has to last you the rest of your life. And when it runs out, it runs out. The pension is kind of the opposite. It's a much smaller amount. You don't have it all at once. You have this monthly check that comes in, and in a lot of cases it goes up every year. Some people it stays the same for the rest of their life, but a lot of people it goes up every year with a cost of living adjustment. But anyway, over time, depending on how long you live, it might be $1 million plus retirement. So instead of having it all up front, it's going to add up over time. And as long as your heart is beating, you're going to get a check every month. So you got to think about all these things and how they come into play together. But the pension is a beautiful thing. I'm a big fan of the pension, but I do think you need to supplement it with some other stuff. So possibly Social Security at a certain age, certainly your retirement accounts at a certain age. But you got to lay all these cards on the table and have everything kind of planned out so that you're not surprised. So leave me your thoughts on the pension and what your thoughts are, how to supplement it, because most teachers have something to supplement it with. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of these videos. And if you're still teaching, keep teaching them up because you're doing great.